The fluorescent lights of Mercy General Hospital buzzed like insects trapped in glass. 3 a.m. had that particular quality of exhaustion where time moved sideways instead of forward. Emma Chen wiped down the nurse's station counter for the third time that hour, her hands moving on autopilot while her mind lived somewhere else entirely. Somewhere 15 years in the past, where a little girl with pigtails waved goodbye at a playground and never came home. At 28, Emma had built her life around routines that kept the questions quiet. Work 12-hour shifts in the ER where other people's emergencies drowned out her own. Go home to an apartment so clean it looked like a hotel room. Sleep 4 hours. Repeat. Lily Chen, age 7, last seen at Riverside Park. Brown eyes, black hair, a strawberry-shaped birthmark on her left shoulder blade, and a thin white scar on her right forearm from falling off her pink bike. Emma had been 12 when Lily disappeared. Old enough to have been watching her. Old enough to carry that failure like a stone in her chest for the rest of her life. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. The ER doors burst open with violent urgency. Emma's training kicked in before her brain caught up. 2 men in expensive suits flanked a third man bleeding through a white dress shirt that probably cost more than Emma's monthly rent. Gunshot wound. One of the suits barked. Left shoulder. Through and through. Emma's supervisor, Rita, appeared beside her. Trauma, 2. Move. They wheeled him into the sterile brightness of the trauma bay. Emma worked with practiced efficiency, cutting away the ruined shirt, assessing the wound, starting an IV line. The man never made a sound. His eyes, dark and alert despite the blood loss, tracked her movements with predator precision. Name? Emma asked, reaching for gauze. Dominic Santoro. Emma's hands didn't falter, but something in her chest went very still. Everyone in this neighborhood had heard that name. The Santoro family didn't make the news often, but when they did, it was the kind of story people whispered about and forgot by dinner because remembering felt dangerous. The doctor on call swept in and took over. Emma stepped back to assist, handing instruments, monitoring vitals, doing the dance of emergency medicine she could perform in her sleep. It was when she reached across to adjust the overhead light that her sleeve rode up slightly. Just an inch. Just enough. Dominic Santoro's eyes locked onto her right forearm, onto the thin white scar that ran from her wrist toward her elbow. His entire body went rigid. Where did you get that? The words came out low. Dangerous. Emma glanced down at her arm, confused. I was 7, fell off my bike. His face had gone from pale to ashen. What bike? I don't see how that's relevant to your gunshot wound, Mr. Santoro. A pink bike, he said, and it wasn't a question. With white streamers on the handlebars and a basket shaped like a flower. The room tilted. Emma's breath caught in her throat. How could you possibly? And you have a birthmark? Dominic continued, each word precise as a surgeon's cut. Strawberry-shaped, left shoulder blade. The doctor looked up from stitching. Do you two know each other? No, Emma whispered. Yes, Dominic said at the same time. One of the men at the door straightened. Marco, Dominic had called him. Boss? Show her your arm, Dominic said. Marco hesitated, then rolled up his sleeve. Through the tattoo covering his forearm, you could see a scar, thin and white, running at an angle across his skin. Dominic's eyes never left Emma's face. Now you. Something in his tone made her obey before she'd decided to. She pushed her sleeve up slowly, revealing the full length of the scar. Dominic stared at it like he was seeing a ghost. Then his hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. Not roughly, but with urgency that made the doctor stop mid-stitch. What's your name? Your full name. Emma Chen. Her voice came out, steadier than she felt. What was your name before Chen? The question hit like a physical blow. Emma's parents had changed their surname when she was 13, after the reporters finally stopped camping outside their house. After her mother had a breakdown in the grocery store. That's none of your business, Emma said, trying to pull her arm back. His thumb brushed across the scar. Your sister. You had a sister. The room went silent except for the beep of monitors and the distant wail of an ambulance outside. How do you know that? Emma breathed. Dominic released her wrist and sank back against the gurney. Because I have her. The words hung in the air like smoke. Emma heard them, understood the individual components. but her brain refused to assemble them into anything that made sense. "That's impossible," she whispered. "She has that scar too," Dominic said quietly. "Exact same place. She told me she got it falling off a pink bike with streamers when she was 7. Emma's knees went weak. Rita caught her elbow, steadying her. "You're lying," Emma said, but her voice shook. "I've never lied about anything that mattered this much." He reached into his pocket slowly and pulled out a phone. His fingers moved across the screen, then he held it up. The photograph showed a young woman with long black hair and brown eyes that Emma would have recognized even if the world had ended. She was laughing, her hand raised, and on her forearm was a scar identical to Emma's. "Her name is Lily," Dominic said. "The people who took her called her something else. By the time we found her 3 years ago, she barely remembered her real name." Emma couldn't breathe. 15 years. 15 years of searching, of hoping, of slowly learning to accept that hope was violence when it had nowhere to land. "Where is she?" Emma's voice came out broken. "Safe," Dominic said. "Protected. She's been with my family since we found her. We've been looking for her family, but the trail was cold. Someone made sure of it. I need to see her." Emma's hands were shaking now. "Right now. You need to finish helping the doctor close this wound," Dominic interrupted gently, "and then we'll talk. Because there's a lot you need to understand about why she disappeared and why bringing her back into the light might be the most dangerous thing we could do." The procedure took another 40 minutes. Emma worked in a daze, her hands performing tasks her brain only half registered. When it was done, the doctor left with instructions Dominic wouldn't follow. When they were alone except for Marco at the door, Dominic spoke. 3 years ago, we raided a property in Westchester. We found 12 girls locked in the basement. They'd been there for years. Lily was one of them. His jaw tightened. The men who took her were running a trafficking network, taking kids who wouldn't be missed easily. "My family looked," Emma said fiercely. "We looked everywhere. The police were paid to look. The other way," Dominic said flatly. "Someone powerful wanted those girls to stay lost. Someone with enough reach to erase records and kill investigations." Emma sank into a chair. "Who?" "We're still figuring that out," Marco said. "That's why we've kept Lily hidden. If the wrong people found out she was alive, she'd disappear again. Permanently this time." "Is she okay?" Emma asked. "She's seeing a trauma specialist. She's strong. She finished her GED. She's taking college courses. She's learning to live again. Does she remember me?" Dominic's expression softened. "She remembers a sister, the bike, being happy once. But the details are fragmented." Emma pressed her hands to her face. "Her sister was alive. After 15 years, Lily was alive. I need to see her," Emma said again. "I know," Dominic said. "That's why I'm going to take you to her. But you need to understand something first. The people who took her are powerful, connected. If they find out Lily is alive and talking to someone from her past, they'll move to silence her. And you?" "I don't care," Emma said. "You should," Marco said. "These aren't street thugs. These are people who can make you disappear." Emma met Dominic's eyes. "Why did you save her?" Something flickered across his face. "Because when we found those girls, Lily was trying to protect the younger ones. She stood between us and those kids like she was ready to die to keep them safe." He paused. "She reminded me of my sister. She died when I was 16. Car accident, or at least that's what we were told." "When can I see her?" Emma asked. Dominic stood carefully. "Now, if you're ready. But once you walk through this door with me, there's no going back. You'll know things that could get you killed." Emma thought about 15 years of living half a life. Of the empty chair at every family dinner. Of her mother's slow decline and her father's retreat into work. "I've been dead for 15 years, Emma said. "Take me to my sister." They moved through the empty hospital corridor. Marco got a black SUV. Emma climbed in, Dominic beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "Thank you," Emma said quietly, "for keeping her safe." Dominic looked at her, and in his eyes she saw something that made her heart stutter. "Thank you for being someone worth finding," he said. The safe house was a brownstone in Brooklyn that looked like every other renovated family home. Inside, it was warm and lived in. A woman named Sophia, Dominic's cousin, greeted them. "Lily talks about her sister all the time," Sophia said. taking Emma's hands. "I'm so glad you're real. Is she awake?" Emma's voice came out small. "She's in the kitchen. Bakes when she can't sleep." Emma's heart hammered. 15 years. And now her sister was 20 feet away, baking cookies like a normal person. Dominic placed a hand on Emma's lower back, steadying. "I'll take you to her." They turned the corner into the kitchen. A young woman stood at the counter, dark hair, falling past her shoulders, humming off key, while she scooped cookie dough onto a baking sheet. "Lily," Dominic said softly. The woman turned. The years had changed her, but the shape of her face was the same, the way she tilted her head when confused, the small gap between her front teeth. Emma couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Lily's gaze traveled over Emma's face, recognition sparking. Her eyes dropped to Emma's exposed forearm, to the scar. "Your arm," Lily whispered. "You have the same scar as me. Pink bike," Emma managed. "White streamers. You hit a rock. I carried you home. Mom was so mad at me." Lily's hand went to her own forearm. Her face cycled through confusion, recognition, disbelief. Then something cracked open in her expression, and tears began streaming down her cheeks. "Emmy?" The childhood nickname came out like a prayer. "Is it really you?" Emma nodded, unable to speak past the sob building in her chest. They moved toward each other like gravity had finally remembered its job. Lily crashed into Emma's arms with enough force to nearly knock them both over. Emma caught her, held her, and felt 15 years of grief pour out in great shaking waves. "I looked for you," Emma sobbed. "I looked everywhere. I never stopped." "I knew," Lily cried. "I knew someone was looking. Even when I couldn't remember your name, I knew someone loved me enough to look." They sank to the kitchen floor, still holding each other. Dominic stepped back to give them privacy, but Emma saw him through her blurred vision, saw the way his jaw worked, the way he looked away. This man had given her this moment, had kept her sister safe when the rest of the world had forgotten she existed. Time became meaningless. They talked in fragments, the playground, the ice cream truck, their mother's laugh. Emma filled in the gaps, telling her about their family, about the pink bike that still sat in their parents' garage. "Mom and Dad," Lily said, pulling back. "Are they alive?" Emma said quickly. "They're going to lose their minds when they find out you're here." Fresh tears spilled. "I want to see them. But Dominic says it's not safe yet." "He's right," Emma said, hating the words. "If the people who took you find out you're alive, they'll kill me," Lily finished calmly. "I know." The casual way she said it broke Emma's heart. "How many are left?" Emma asked Dominic. "We've taken down 37 people in the network," he said. "But the person at the top is still out there, still protected, still dangerous." "Who is it?" Emma demanded. "We don't know yet, but we're close." A phone buzzed. Marco appeared. "Boss, we've got movement." 2 SUVs circling the block. Dominic was moving before Marco finished. "Sophia, Protocol 3. Lily, Emma, basement. Now." "What's happening?" Emma stood, pulling Lily up. "Probably nothing," Dominic said. But his hand had gone to the weapon Emma suddenly realized he'd been carrying. "But we don't gamble with probably." They descended into a basement converted into something between a bunker and apartment. In the corner, a steel door that looked like it could withstand an explosion. Sophia ushered 2 other young women into the panic room. Lily started to follow, then looked back at Emma. "Come with us," she said. Emma looked at the stairs where Dominic and Marco were speaking in low, urgent tones. But Lily's hand in hers was real, warm, alive. After 15 years of losing her, Emma wasn't about to let her out of sight. "I'm coming," she said. They entered the panic room. Sophia sealed the door. Emma sank onto a bench, still holding Lily's hand. "This is my life now," Lily said softly. "Hiding, waiting. How do you survive it?" Emma asked. Lily's smile was small and fierce. "I survived worse, and I have things to live for now. Sophia's teaching me to paint. I'm taking psychology courses. I have a therapist, and I have Dominic." Something in the way she said his name made Emma look at her, sharply. "I know," Lily said. "I know what you're thinking. But Emmy, when I was at my lowest, he sat with me, every night for 3 months. Just being present until I remembered how to want to live. Emma's throat tightened. Does he know how you feel? God, no, Lily said quickly. And he can't. He sees me as his responsibility. If he knew, it would destroy the one safe relationship I have. She looked at Emma desperately. Don't tell him. Please. I won't, Emma promised. Upstairs, something heavy hit the floor. Then Dominic's voice came through an intercom. All clear. False alarm. Sophia pressed a button. Coming up. They filed back upstairs. Emma found Dominic in the kitchen, his shoulder bleeding again through his shirt. You tore your stitches, Emma said. Probably, he agreed. Sit, Emma ordered. She returned with supplies and found he'd obediently taken a seat. Lily had disappeared, giving them privacy. Take off your shirt, Emma said. Dominic complied. The bandage was soaked through. Emma peeled it away to reveal the wound had torn slightly. You should have stayed still, she muttered, cleaning it. Men with guns don't wait for stitches to heal. There were no men with guns. You said false alarm. This time. He watched her work. But eventually it won't be. We can't hide forever. So what's the plan? Emma asked, applying fresh gauze. Hunt them faster than they hunt us. Take apart their network piece by piece, until there's nowhere left for the person at the top to hide. Emma finished taping the bandage. You care about them. All of them. I'm responsible for them. A careful distinction. That's not what I said. His eyes met hers. Caring gets people killed in my line of work. Not caring gets people killed too, Emma countered. Just slower. From the inside out. He stood. You should stay here tonight. It's not safe for you to go home. I have a shift tomorrow. Call in sick. I'm a trauma nurse. People need me. People here need you, Dominic said, edge in his voice. Your sister needs you. And whether you like it or not, you need protection. Emma wanted to argue. But she looked around at this house full of women who'd survived hell, at the panic room they had to run to at a moment's notice. Fine, she said. One night, tomorrow Marco takes you, fully armed. You don't go anywhere alone until I say otherwise. I'm not your prisoner. No, he agreed. You're my responsibility. There's a difference. Sophia showed Emma to a guest room. She showered, letting hot water wash away the surreal feeling. When she finally crawled into bed, sleep claimed her almost immediately. She woke to sunlight and coffee. Lily was in the kitchen making pancakes, and the sight of that smile nearly brought Emma to her knees. Morning, Lily said. I stress bake and anxiety cook. Emma laughed. I stress clean. We're a disaster. We're sisters, Lily corrected. They ate at the table, and it felt like playing house. But under every sentence was the weight of everything unsaid. Emmy, Lily said finally. Are you okay? With all of this? With who Dominic is? Emma considered. I don't know yet. I'm a nurse. I save lives. He doesn't, always. He saved mine, Lily said quietly. And 12 others. He's not a good man by most definitions. But he's a good man by the ones that matter to me. Before Emma could respond, Marco appeared. Boss is on his way back. Says he needs to talk to both of you. Dominic strode in minutes later. We identified the men in the SUVs. Private security for Blackstone Protection, which is owned by Richard Castellano. City Councilman Richard Castellano. Emma's blood ran cold. A city councilman was behind this? He's been protecting it, Dominic said, face grim. His security company provides services to half the judges in the city. His real estate holdings include the property where we found the girls. We need evidence, documentation, and Lily might be able to identify him. Lily went very pale. I don't know. The memories are fragmented. Emma moved to her sister's side. You don't have to do this. There might not be another way, Dominic said gently. But Lily, we won't push you. I want to try, Lily said, lifting her chin. We deserve justice. Later that day, Lily's therapist, Dr. Winters, arrived. They settled in the living room, Emma beside her sister, holding her hand. Walk me through what you remember about the men who came to the property, Dr. Winters said. Lily's breathing changed, shallow and quick. There were a lot of men. They'd come in suits. There was one, Silver hair, expensive watch. The others deferred to him. Did he speak? Dr. Winters asked. Yes. Deep voice. He had an accent. Italian, maybe. Or he was trying to sound Italian. Marco pulled up a photo on his tablet. This is Richard Castellano. Lily opened her eyes slowly. Marco turned the tablet toward her. Emma watched recognition hit like a physical blow. Lily's skin went ashen. Her breathing stopped, then started too fast. That's him, she whispered. I'm sure of it, doctor. Winters leaned forward. Lily, breathe with me. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Lily nodded, shaking. Emma pulled her sister against her, and they breathed together. I'm okay, Lily said finally. I can do this. That's all we need, Dominic said, voice rough with something that might have been pride or rage. Your testimony, combined with the financial evidence, it's enough. And then what? Emma asked. You kill him? The room went silent. Dominic's eyes met hers. If it comes to that, there has to be another way, Emma insisted. There isn't, Dominic said. Men like Castellano don't go to prison. They have too many powerful friends. If we hand him to the authorities, he'll be out in 6 months and every witness will be dead in 7. So you become judge, jury, and executioner? I become the only thing standing between him and the next 12 girls he traffics, Dominic said, voice steel. I didn't ask for this role, Emma. But I'm the only one willing to do what's necessary. There's always another way, Emma said desperately. Not in my world, Dominic said, and walked out. Emma found him on the back patio, smoking with aggressive determination. I didn't know you smoked, Emma said. I don't, except when I'm about to do something that will cost me sleep for the next decade. Emma stood beside him. Is that what this is? Another thing that will haunt you? They all haunt me, Dominic said. Every choice I've made, every man I've killed. They line up in my head at 3 a.m. and ask if it was worth it. What do you tell them? That I'd do it again, Dominic said. That's the part that scares me. Not the violence itself, but how easy it's become to justify. Emma was quiet. What happened to your sister? Dominic's jaw tightened. She was dating someone my family didn't approve of. 3 days after my father told her to end it, her brakes failed on the highway. She was 22. He crushed the cigarette. I was 16. Years later, I found the mechanic's body in the river and knew it wasn't an accident. Did you find who ordered it? My father, Dominic said flatly. He said he'd done what was necessary. That Maria's boyfriend was an FBI informant. That she would have destroyed everything. He looked at Emma. I tracked the boyfriend down years later. He was a teacher, never worked with law enforcement. My father had him investigated and decided he was a threat based on nothing but paranoia. Emma's blood ran cold. So when I found those girls, Dominic continued, when I saw Lily trying to protect the younger ones, I knew I couldn't walk away. Because maybe if I saved them, it would balance the scales for the sister I couldn't save. That's not how guilt works, Emma said gently. I know. But it's the best I can do. Emma moved closer. What you did for Lily, it matters. You know that, right? Does it matter if I still cross lines that can't be uncrossed? Yes, Emma said fiercely. Because you're asking the question. Because you lose sleep. Because you're not like the men you're fighting. Dominic turned to face her. Aren't I? I've killed people, Emma. The only difference between me and Castellano is I convinced myself I had better reasons. No, Emma said. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. The difference is you saved 12 girls and he enslaved them. Intent matters. Growth matters. You're not the same. Dominic's hand came up to cup her face. You make me want to believe that. Then believe it, Emma whispered. They were too close again. Emma could feel his breath on her lips. Could see the war in his eyes. Emma, he said, her name a warning and a plea. I know, she said. We can't, Lily. This isn't about Lily, Dominic interrupted. This is about me knowing I'm going to hurt you. About you deserving someone who doesn't have blood on his hands. What if I don't want normal? Emma asked. What if I've spent 15 years in normal and it nearly killed me? Then you're asking for the wrong kind of danger, Dominic said. but he didn't step back. The back door opened. Marco's voice cut through. "Boss, we've got a problem." Dominic dropped his hand and turned. "What kind?" "Castellano just announced a press conference for tomorrow. He's going to address recent unfounded allegations. He's getting ahead of the story." "Which means someone tipped him off," Dominic said, already moving. "Someone in our network is leaking." Inside, Marco had pulled up a newsfeed. Castellano stood at a podium, looking every inch the concerned public servant. "That's him," Lily said from the doorway, voice steady despite the tremor Emma could see in her hands. "That's definitely him." Dominic's phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going hard. "Sophia's been in an accident. Minor fender bender 3 blocks from here. But the other driver was Blackstone Security." "That's not an accident," Marco said. "No," Dominic agreed. "That's a message. They know where we are." The room erupted into controlled chaos. Marco coordinating, Dominic giving orders. Sophia arriving shaken but unharmed, already packing bags. "We're moving you," Dominic said to Emma. "All of you. New location. Tonight." "Where?" Emma asked. "Somewhere Castellano can't reach. Outside the city. They moved like refugees in the night. 2 cars, careful routes. The new safe house was upstate. A farmhouse on 20 acres. Remote, defensible, lonely. That night, Lily found Emma in the kitchen, making tea with shaking hands. "I'm sorry," Lily said. "For what?" "For bringing you into this. For being the reason you can't go home." Emma set down the kettle and pulled her sister into a fierce hug. "You are not a complication. You're my sister. You're alive. Everything else is just details. Details that involve armed guards and midnight evacuations. We've survived worse," Emma said. "You survived 15 years of hell and came out the other side, still trying to protect others. I survived 15 years of guilt and found you again. Yes, we've survived worse. And we'll survive this." Dominic appeared in the doorway. "Lily, can you give us a minute?" Lily looked between them, something knowing in her expression, then nodded and left. "Tomorrow," Dominic said. "I'm going to Castellano's press conference. I'm going to confront him publicly. It forces his hand." "That's suicide," Emma said. "It's calculated risk. But I need you to understand. If this goes wrong, don't," Emma interrupted. "Don't say goodbye like you're not coming back." "I might not come back," Dominic said quietly. "Castellano has the police in his pocket. There are a dozen ways tomorrow could end with me dead or in prison." "Then don't go," Emma said desperately. "I have to. Because if I don't end this, you and Lily spend the rest of your lives running. I won't let that happen." Emma closed the distance between them, past caring about complications. She grabbed the front of his shirt. "You come back," she said fiercely. "You hear me? Because I didn't spend 15 years finding my sister just to lose someone else I care about." Dominic's hands came up to frame her face. "Emma, I know it's fast. I know it's insane. I know there are 1,000 reasons this can't work. But you make me feel alive for the first time in 15 years. So you don't get to go on a suicide mission and leave me behind. You come back." "I'll try," Dominic said. "Not good enough. Promise me." "I can't promise something I can't control." "Then promise you'll fight like hell to make it true," Emma whispered. "That I can promise," Dominic said, and kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate and fierce, and tasted like goodbye and hello, and every complicated emotion between. Emma kissed him back with everything she had. When they broke apart, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. "When this is over, I'm taking you somewhere quiet, somewhere with no guns or guards or ghosts. Just us. Is that a promise or a fantasy?" Emma asked. "Both," Dominic said. "I'm going to make it real." He left before she could respond, and Emma stood alone, her lips still tingling, her mind screaming that she'd just fallen in love with the most dangerous kind of man. But her heart whispered back that maybe the most dangerous thing was the way he made her feel safe. The next morning, Dominic left before dawn. Emma found herself pacing the farmhouse like a caged animal. Lily watched her with knowing eyes. "You're in love with him." "I barely know him," Emma protested. "That's not what I asked." Emma sank onto the couch. "Is that terrible? He's everything I shouldn't want. But he saved me," Lily said. And he looks at you like you're the thing worth surviving for. She took Emma's hand. I thought I had feelings for him, but I was wrong. I was in love with safety. But the way he looks at you, that's different. That's real. What about? Emma asked. Are you okay with this? I'm working on it, Lily said honestly. It stings a little, but mostly I'm happy. Because you deserve this. They sat together, watching the clock, waiting. Across the city, Dominic stood in the shadows at the back of a crowded press room. Castellano was at the podium, spinning his story with practiced ease. These allegations are nothing more than a smear campaign, Castellano said smoothly. Dominic waited until the reporters started shouting questions. Then he stepped forward, into the light, and every camera swung toward him. Councilman Castellano, Dominic said, voice carrying. I have a question. Security moved toward him, but Castellano held up a hand. Mr. Santoro, how unexpected. Please, ask your question. 3 years ago, authorities raided a property in Westchester. They found 12 young women who'd been trafficked. That property was owned by a shell company that traces back to you. Would you care to comment? The room erupted. Cameras flashed. Reporters surged forward. That property was sold years ago, Castellano said, smile never wavering. Really? Dominic pulled a folder from his jacket. Because I have financial records showing monthly payments from your accounts to maintenance on that property. I have testimony from survivors identifying you. And I have evidence linking your security company to the trafficking network. Security was moving again. Marco appeared at Dominic's side with 3 other men. This is slander, Castellano said, mask cracking. I'll have you arrested. On what charges? Telling the truth? I've already sent copies to every news outlet in this room, to the FBI, to the state attorney general. You're done, Castellano. 2 things happened at once. Castellano's security drew weapons, and 6 federal agents burst through the doors, badges out, guns drawn. Richard Castellano, the lead agent called out. You're under arrest for conspiracy, racketeering, and human trafficking. The room exploded. Cameras caught everything. Castellano being cuffed. Dominic being ushered out by Marco and the feds. Back at the farmhouse, Emma watched it unfold on the news. Saw Dominic walk out alive. Saw Castellano in handcuffs. Her phone rang. Dominic's name on the screen. You're alive, she breathed. I promised I'd fight like hell, he said, exhaustion and relief in his voice. It's over, Emma. It's really over. When will you be back? 6 hours. I have to give a statement. Then I'm coming home. Home. He'd said home. I'll be waiting, Emma said. When Dominic finally walked through the door, he looked like a man who'd been through a war. Emma met him in the hallway. No words. Just crashed into him with enough force to make him stagger. He caught her, held her, buried his face in her hair. You came back, she whispered. I promised, he said against her skin. Lily appeared, hesitant but hopeful. Is it really over? It's really over, Dominic said. Castellano's in federal custody. His network is being dismantled. You're safe, Lily. All of you. Lily's knees buckled. Sophia caught her, and they both cried with relief. That night, the house celebrated in small ways. Lily baked a cake. The other survivors danced. Sophia made calls to families, starting reunification processes. Emma found Dominic on the back porch, standing in the cool night air. Hey, she said softly. Hey, he replied, turning to her with a smile that reached his eyes. So, you promised me somewhere quiet. I did, Dominic agreed. I'm going to hold you to that. Good, Dominic said, his arms coming around her waist. Because I'm done running, done hiding, done pretending I don't want this. He kissed her softly. I want you, Emma. Complicated and messy, and terrifying as that is. I want you too, Emma said. Even though you're going to drive me crazy. We'll drive each other crazy, Dominic said. But at least we'll do it together. They kissed again, and Emma felt something settle in her chest. Choice, partnership, love that had been earned through fire. What happens now? Emma asked. Now we rebuild. I'm getting out of the business. Officially, legally, no more gray areas. I was thinking about opening a security firm. Actual security. Protecting people who need it. Survivors. Witnesses. That sounds perfect, Emma said. And you? Dominic asked. What do you want? Emma looked through the window at her sister. I want to go back to nursing, but I want to specialize in trauma recovery, help survivors rebuild. She smiled. And I want to wake up next to you, come home to you, build something real with you. Even knowing what I am? Dominic asked. I know who you are, Emma corrected. A man who saved my sister, who kept 12 women alive, who chose to be better. That's who you are to me. Dominic's eyes went bright. I don't deserve you. Good thing I'm not asking for deserve, Emma said. I'm asking for try. Can you do that? Yes, Dominic said, and it sounded like a vow. Every day, for as long as you'll have me. Inside, Lily called out that the cake was ready. Life was calling them back. But first, this moment, this promise, this beginning. I love you, Emma said, surprising herself with how easy the words came. I love you, Dominic said back, like he'd been waiting his whole life to mean it. 6 months later, Emma stood in the doorway of her new apartment and marveled at how different it felt. Plants on the windowsill, thriving, photographs on the walls, new ones. Lily at her college graduation, Lily and Emma at the beach, family dinners with their parents, and in the center, a photograph from last month. Emma and Dominic at Sophia's wedding, dancing under string lights, both laughing. They looked normal, happy, real. You're staring at that picture again, Dominic said from behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. 6 months since Castellano's arrest. 6 months of testimony and trials. 6 months of Dominic dismantling his illegal operations and rebuilding something clean. It had been brutal. There had been threats. One attempt on his life that Marco had intercepted. But they'd survived. Your shift starts in an hour, Dominic reminded her. Emma had gone back to Mercy General and volunteered at a trauma recovery center Sophia had established. Lily was a peer counselor there, using her story to help others. She'd started dating James, a kind grad student who treated her like she was made of strength. I'm meeting Lily for coffee first, Emma said. She wants to talk about something. Everything okay? Dominic's arms tightened. I think so. She's been working on a victim impact statement for Castellano's sentencing hearing next month. The trial had been swift. Castellano convicted on 37 counts. His sentencing would determine if he spent the rest of his life in prison. That's brave, Dominic said quietly. She learned it from you, Emma said, turning in his arms. Dominic had changed. The tension that had lived in his shoulders for years had eased. He smiled more. His security firm, Sanctuary Protection, had taken off. Survivors of domestic violence. Witnesses in organized crime cases. He protected them with the same ferocity, but now it was legal. Honorable. I love you, Dominic said. Have I mentioned that today? Twice, but I'll never get tired of hearing it. He kissed her until she forgot she had places to be. You're going to make me late, she murmured. Good, he said, kissing her again. Her phone buzzed. Lily, checking if she was still coming. Tonight, Emma promised. We have the place to ourselves. Tonight, Dominic agreed. I'll cook. You always cook. You burn water. Emma met Lily at their favorite coffee shop. Lily was already there, looking good, healthy. Her hair was shorter now, framing her face. She wore a Columbia sweatshirt and could have been any normal 23-year-old, except for the awareness in her eyes. The way she tracked exits. The tells that said she'd survived something that changed you. But she was here. Alive. Fighting every day. Hey, Emma said, sliding into the seat. Hey, Lily said, pushing a latte toward her. I've been here for 20 minutes working up my nerve. That doesn't sound good. It's not bad. It's just big. Lily took a breath. I'm going to testify at Castellano's sentencing. In person. In open court. I'm going to look at him and tell him exactly what he took from me and how I survived anyway. Emma's eyes filled. Lily, I know it's risky. I know Dominic is going to lose his mind over security. But Emmy, I need to do this. I need to prove he didn't win. Emma reached across and took her sister's hands. Then you'll do it. And we'll all be there with you. Really? You're not going to try to talk me out of it? You're the bravest person I know, Emma said. If you want to face your monster, then I'll be in the front row cheering you on. Lily's tears spilled over. I'm terrified. That's how you know it matters, Emma said. The things worth doing are always terrifying. They sat there, hands linked, two sisters who'd lost 15 years, but were building something stronger. How are Mom and Dad? Lily asked, wiping her eyes. Still can't believe you're real. Dad keeps taking pictures. Mom hugs you every time like you might disappear. It's overwhelming and perfect. They'd waited 3 months before reuniting Lily with their parents. Dr. Winters had supervised. Their mother had collapsed when she'd seen her youngest daughter. Their father had stood there, silent tears streaming, until Lily walked into his arms and whispered, "Hi, Daddy." It had been the most beautiful, devastating, perfect moment of Emma's life. They want to do Christmas this year, Emma said. Real Christmas. Mom's already planning. What does one wear to their first Christmas in 15 years? Lily asked with a shaky laugh. Anything you want, as long as you're there. They finished their coffee and walked out into the autumn afternoon. The city had that quality of light that made everything look possible. Emmy, Lily said, stopping on the corner. Thank you for never giving up, for looking even when everyone said to stop. You're my sister, Emma said simply. That was never a choice. They hugged on the busy sidewalk, and Emma felt the last piece of her broken heart click back into place. That evening, Emma returned to find Dominic had cooked. The table was set, candles flickered. It looked like a date. What's the occasion? Emma asked, suspicious. Can't I cook for my girlfriend without an ulterior motive? You can. But you usually don't light candles. Over dinner, she told him about Lily's decision. Watched his face cycle through concern and pride. Marco will coordinate with the marshals, Dominic said. We'll have people everywhere. She'll be safe. After dinner, Dominic pulled her to the couch. He looked nervous. What's wrong? Emma asked. Nothing's wrong. Everything's actually impossibly right, and that terrifies me. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Emma's breath stopped. I'm doing this badly, Dominic said. I had a whole speech planned. Try anyway, Emma whispered. He opened the box. A ring. Simple, elegant, a single diamond. 6 months ago, you walked into my life and refused to let me keep living like a ghost, Dominic said. You made me want to be better. Made me believe I could be better. You took every broken piece of me and said, that's okay. I'm broken too. Let's be broken together. Emma's eyes were wet. I know it's fast. I know you could do better than a former criminal who still wakes up with nightmares. But Emma, I love you. I love you so much it terrifies me. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of that love. He slid off the couch to one knee. Marry me. Build a life with me. Have terrible mornings where you burn. Coffee. And I'm grumpy. Fight about whose turn it is to do dishes. Grow old with me. Emma laughed through her tears. Yes. Absolutely yes. Dominic slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. He stood and pulled her into his arms, kissing her with desperate relief. Emma kissed him back with all the fierce love she'd been building. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret this, he said. I know. But I'm also going to drive you crazy. I'm counting on it. They spent the night making plans. A small wedding. Family and close friends. Maybe in the spring. Lily will want to be maid of honor, Emma said. Marco will demand to be best man and give a speech that makes everyone cry. Sophia will cry just seeing the flowers. Your mother will cry at everything. Your father will threaten me one more time. He already likes you. You brought his daughter back to life. Twice. Dominic smiled. Then I better keep you alive and happy. You better. The day of. The sentencing hearing arrived gray and cold. Emma stood in the courthouse bathroom with Lily, who looked like she might be sick. I can't do this, Lily whispered. Yes, you can, Emma said firmly. Because you're the strongest person I know. Because he doesn't get to win. Because 12 other women are watching. What if I freeze? Then I'll be right there, in the front row. And if you freeze, you look at me. Not him, me. And you remember that you survived. Lily nodded. Okay, I can do this. They walked into the courtroom. Dominic and Marco were already there. Sophia sat with Maya and Jade. Their parents were in the second row. And in the defendant's chair, in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs, sat Richard Castellano, silver hair gone gray. He looked smaller, less powerful. Just a man who'd made monstrous choices. The judge called the hearing to order. Several survivors gave statements. Then it was Lily's turn. Emma watched her sister stand and walk to the witness stand with her, head high. Watched her take her seat and finally look at the man who'd stolen her childhood. "My name is Lily Chen," she began, voice steady. "I was 7 years old when I was taken. For the next 15 years, I was held captive by a network run by you, Councilman Castellano." Castellano didn't look at her. He stared at the table. "You took everything from me," Lily continued. "My family, my childhood, my sense of safety. You stole 15 years I will never get back." Her voice cracked, but she pushed through. "But here's what you didn't take. You didn't take my will to survive. You didn't take my capacity to heal. You didn't take my ability to love and be loved. I have a family again. I'm in college. I'm building a life. And every day I wake up free. You lose a little more." She looked directly at him. "You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. And I'm going to spend the rest of mine living, really living. Loving people and being loved. Creating beauty instead of suffering. And that, Councilman, is why you lost." She stepped down to thunderous silence. The judge looked shaken. The judge sentenced him to life without parole. Multiple consecutive sentences. He would die in prison. Emma met Lily outside, pulled her into a fierce hug. "You did it. You were perfect." "I was terrified," Lily said, shaking. "Terrified and brave," Dominic said. "That's the only kind of bravery that matters." They celebrated that night at Marco's restaurant. The table was crowded with survivors and family, and the people who'd fought to bring them home. To Lily, Sophia raised her glass. "For being braver than anyone should have to be." "To justice," Marco added. "To family," their mother said, tears streaming. "For second chances." "To love," Dominic said, his hand finding Emma's. "For being stronger than fear." They drank and ate and laughed, and Emma looked around at this impossible family they'd built from trauma and sheer stubborn hope. 3 months later, on a perfect spring day, Emma married Dominic in a garden ceremony that was small and intimate and exactly what they'd wanted. Lily was maid of honor in a lavender dress and a smile that reached her eyes. Marco was best man, giving a speech that had everyone crying and then laughing. Sophia caught the bouquet. Their mother cried through the ceremony. Their father walked Emma down the aisle and whispered, "He better treat you right." "He will," Emma whispered back. "He brought our family home." When the officiant asked if she took this man, Emma looked at Dominic and saw their entire future. "I do," she said. "I do," Dominic echoed. And when they kissed, the crowd erupted. But Emma heard none of it. She was too busy falling into this kiss, this moment, this impossible, beautiful beginning. As the sun set and the string lights came on, Emma found herself standing at the edge of the garden with Dominic. His arms were around her waist. Her head rested on his shoulder. "Happy?" Dominic asked. "Impossibly," Emma said. "You?" "More than I thought possible. More than I deserve." "Stop," Emma said, turning in his arms. "You deserve this. You deserve joy and peace. You fought for it. You earned it." "We earned it," Dominic corrected. Together, Emma agreed. They kissed as the stars came out, and their family celebrated behind them. And Emma thought about the scar on her arm, identical to her sister's, the mark that had led her to this moment, this man, this impossible future. Some scars, she realized, weren't just remnants of pain. They were maps that led you home. 1 year later, Emma stood in a hospital room, but this time as a patient. Dominic held her hand, looking more terrified than he'd ever looked facing armed men. "You're doing great," he said for the 100th time. "I'm aware," Emma panted. "I'm a nurse. I know how this works." 3 hours later, their daughter was born. Perfect and small and screaming. "She has your lungs," Dominic said, tears streaming. "She has your stubborn chin," Emma said, exhausted and euphoric. They named her Maria Rose. Maria for Dominic's sister, Rose for Emma's grandmother. A name that honored the past while looking toward the future. Lily was the first visitor, bringing flowers and tears. I'm an aunt. I have a niece. You have a goddaughter, Emma corrected. If you want the job. Yes, Lily said immediately. Absolutely yes. Their parents came next. Their mother crying again, their father taking 1,000 pictures. Marco brought a teddy bear bigger than the baby. Sophia brought a quilt covered in phoenixes rising from flames. As the sun set and visiting hours ended, Emma held her daughter and looked at her husband, and felt the full weight of how far they'd come. From a trauma room and a gunshot wound to this, to marriage and family and a life built on love instead of survival. Thank you, Emma said softly. For what? Dominic asked, one arm around her shoulders, one finger gently held by their daughter's tiny fist. For fighting, for not giving up, for saving my sister and then saving me. You saved yourself, Dominic said. You both did. I just provided the security detail, Emma laughed. The best security detail in the business. Baby Maria made a small sound, stretching in her mother's arms. Her eyes opened briefly, dark and unfocused, before drifting closed again. She's going to be so loved, Emma whispered. She already is, Dominic said. Outside the hospital window, the city sparkled with 1,000,000 lights. 1,000,000 stories. 1,000,000 people surviving and loving and building lives from whatever pieces they'd been given. And in this room, a family that had been torn apart and rebuilt. Scarred but whole, broken but healing. Proof that sometimes the worst things led to the best things. That hope could survive 15 years of grief. That love could grow in the spaces trauma left behind. Emma looked at her daughter, her husband, and thought about the pink bike with white streamers. About a little girl who'd disappeared and come home. About a scar that led to salvation. Some scars, she realized, weren't just remnants of pain. They were maps that led you home. This was their middle, their fight, their refusal to let darkness win. And it was exactly where they were supposed to be. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.